Hi, everyone. Good evening to those who are tuning in locally from Seattle, NA, to everyone else who are tuning in from everywhere else around the world. Greetings. My name is Tepatasi Vaina. You can call me Tepa for short. I use she, her pronouns. I am the manager of community engagement at Utopia Seattle, and I want to thank you all for joining us tonight. Also, I want to say welcome. We understand that this is a difficult time for everyone across the world, across the globe, that we are all going through. We do hope that you are all staying safe, staying sanitary, and staying at home. But despite all of that, we are so happy that we are able to continue building community with all of you folks, even if that means we have to utilize virtual or online platforms such as this. We have an exciting event packed for you tonight that includes a showing of the 1999 film Paradise Bent, Gender Diversity in Samoa, which was back in the days, it was more popularly known as Boys Will Be Girls. But before we get into all of that, I want to talk a little bit about the two programs that we have combined to bring this event to all of you. Um, that program is the first one is called Talanoa. A little bit about Talanoa. Talanoa is an indigenous practice in many Pacific islands, including Samoa, which basically means dialogue or to have conversations. Utopia's Talanoa platform allows for community members to come together and have meaningful conversations about institutions, about systems, about beliefs that impact them. Tala meaning story, and Noa deriving from the term of Noa Noa, which basically means to tie, is the process of having a dialogue. This dialogue has the purpose to meet a collective decision that benefits all of us. This platform at Utopia lifts up stories of queer and trans Pacific Islanders everywhere, and to remind all of us that there is power in all of our stories and that we can use those stories to change the narrative and that we can start telling this story from our own lived experiences and not learn about us from Westerners. The other program that I would like to highlight tonight is our ongoing TransAction support group, which is also a social group. This space is provided for trans and gender nonconforming folks, especially with those who have lived experiences in sex work. However, due to the spread of COVID-19, we are offering this space online through engaging events such as tonight's. Tonight's event, we decided to marry the concepts and values of these two amazing programs so that we can provide this exciting space that you are all tuning into tonight. So with tonight, along with the screening of the film, we also have a very special guest with us tonight who you will all hear from eventually. But before we do that, I'd like to take this time out to acknowledge our gracious and generous sponsors who have helped us to continue making it possible for Utopia to offer this space and many of our other programs and services virtually and online. Our funders are Seattle Foundation, Neighbor to Neighbor, King County VSHSL, Group Health Foundation, Borealis Philanthropy, Funds for Transgenerations, Social Justice Fund Northwest, Pride Foundation, Third Wave Fund, Sex Workers Giving Circle, Can't Give Me Culture, GAPA Foundation, and Seattle People's Fund. So before we start showing our film on here, which you will all be viewing together with us, I would like to hand over the floor to my beautiful colleague, Ms. Tweety Fatuesi, who will introduce to you our special guest of the evening and the next segment of our event tonight. Tweety, you can take it away.
Talafun, good evening, everyone. My name is Tweety Fatwesi. I'm the community organizer here with Utopia Seattle, and the bulk of my work is revolves around our civic engagement areas. So I'm mostly involved with motivating our community members to respond to the census and help them with their voter registration programs, as well as assisting with Talanoa as well. During this time, it's very important that we're all responding to the census because this gives us an opportunity to make our identities known through aggregate data, to funding um, funding that comes back to our communities. And so if you haven't had a chance to respond to the census, I encourage you to visit 2020census.gov. Get yourself and your family registered and respond so that our identities can be visible. But without further ado, I'd like to take this opportunity to honor. I have the honor of introducing our star of the show. This popular diva has toured the Pacific, New Zealand, Australia, and the United States. She is renowned for her impersonations of Shirley Bassey, Whitney Houston, and Tina Turner. At age 15, Cindy of Samoa became the first female vocalist at Samoa's famous nightclub. Mount Via New Zealand tours followed in 1989. Cindy of Samoa became the star attraction of many Polynesian revenues, including the must-see tourist show, Cindy's Cabaret Show. It became the top it became the top of the list of 10 must things that you should do while in Samoa. Cindy of Samoa toured the United States in 1999, performing in Carson City, Utah, and San Francisco. In 2002, she won Sydney's Poly Talent Quest, the first of many talent show triumphs. And in 2008, she was a finalist in TV New Zealand Stars in Their Eyes. Today, Cindy of Samoa performs regularly at Sky City Casino and is a crowd favorite at corporate and charity events all over New Zealand. Put a round of applause or a clap emoji in the chat box and help me welcome Cindy of Samoa.
I'm clapping for myself.
Hi, Cindy.
Hi, darlings. Oka. Good. All you. I knew you guys were all gonna doll up today for this. Well, excuse me.
Good morning over there.
Oh, is it? No, it's afternoon. It's actually afternoon over here in Samoa. It's about after 2 p.m. Yeah. So I might tend to speak like it's daytime when you guys are like at nighttime over there.
It's just about sitting here in our neck of the woods. How have you been doing lately?
Well, we're on lockdown in a safe coronavirus Samoa, and I think people over here in Samoa are all getting used to it. We're not complaining. I think, plus, us Samoans, we love it when we don't do anything. We're lazy bastards. So I think that's going to be the problem that's going to come out of this coronavirus when it's gone. I think a lot of people will be lazy and because we're all used to staying home now, doing pretty much nothing. And apparently some people over here are like into doing their plantations and all that, which is good. Yeah. And spending a lot of people going back to church as well. So
that's great. It's important to keep practicing social distance. I mean, COVID-19 is something that we shouldn't take very lightly, and it's impacting all of us, but it's great for us to come together in a virtual platform such as this and stay connected and keep in touch with one another, especially during these times.
Yeah. Well, in Samoa, it's kind of the only thing that's odd in Samoa is when you greet people nowadays, you tend to forget, but you just go up and hug them. But some people, they're like, as soon as they see you coming running up to them, they're like, oh, corona. Right. And it's becoming like, I don't know, it's kind of weird feeling to it. It comes across sometimes a bit like Samoa. It's so not Samoan like now, it's a bit unfriendly.
It takes the alofa out of greeting each other. Right. And so a lot of people have been doing like elbow dabs, which I don't know.
Now you won't even know your enemy because everyone just like give you the fist or the elbow, and when the old days, in the usual days, you can your enemy because they won't even do anything to you. They won't come near you. But now you can tell them, by distance whether it's your enemy. You won't even know if it's your enemy because they just like, okay, and you just go along with it. Yeah.
Well, we're very happy to have you join us this evening or this afternoon in your case. start the showing, I wanted to see if maybe you can help provide some overview about the film that everyone's about to see.
Well, the thing of the documentary crew came from Australia, and they wanted to do a story on me. But I thought, well, it would be a boring documentary if it was just me. So I didn't want to be in a documentary by myself. So we had to gather other fingers, to have them feature them as well in the documentary, and it became a bigger documentary because I had everybody else involved in it. Because I don't believe in one story tells everyone else's story for all of us. We all have different stories, so it was nice to have everyone in it as well. And I don't know, people interpret things in their own way, so it yeah. You'll have to watch the documentary and see what's good for you, and how, and then you make up your own conclusion about it and see where you fit into the documentary.
Absolutely. Well, I'm super excited to get started. But before we do, I'd like to let everyone know not to go away and stay tuned, because we'll be coming back towards the end of the film and we'll have an open discussion with Cindy to sort of ask some questions and dive deeper and have some conversations around the experience, and what pretty much went on behind the scenes, or anything about that nature. You'll also have a chance to ask some questions on your end. Feel free to throw some in at the chat box, and we'll sort of navigate that, and we'll ask Cindy. We'll get an opportunity to talk to Cindy and bring up those questions along the way. So the time has come. I hope you've all grabbed your popcorn, got some snacks, and poured yourself a glass of wine. Everybody kick back, get ready, and enjoy the show.
Yay!
The natives begin to cope with the forces of nature and are left to lead an idyllic and a carefree life with few, if any, restrictions.
30 years later, when we arrived in Samoa, life was a bit different.
Ow! That's painful. Look at that shit. You are actually not looking after yourself. Look at that. It's like a forest here.
Here's my auntie talking.
We learnt that not everything is quite what it seems in Samoa.
What else now? Open the legs wide. You really shave it. But look, when you shave, you have all these ingrown hairs. And you shouldn't shave because you're a man.
I got 15 kids and eight girls.
7 girls and 7 boys and 6 and
The
6.
boys, not the fafafini. Yes, you understand?
7 boys and 8 girls. And 3 of us are fafafing.
Flandia o ia o le kenge a. Wa o la ufainga le fai. Kusa a olo e kafafa out. Unga fai leo la ko fa kenge. Ai a o mai ko kongo mako ainga. Well, boys, o kamai o fai fi out.
Blondie was the first of many Fafafinis we met. The word itself means in the manner of a woman, and we found these men playing out a whole range of feminine roles, largely accepted by the community in which they lived.
我来输入啊，伊哩，要我马上输入伊，有，要个伊罗人马过爱个，我输一佛哩，我输一位个，输一位个来伊个，我比我是可以佛的发也佛的，
oi sa di lo la mai ma fo fo mo le lo ke le o ye se kula ma pa ke ya ke ne ye fo ye le anti
Fai foi aso se ngalwe nga fa teine ma ngalwe nga fa fine foi fai o te lo foi sui. She understand what I am and she know how to look after me. And, you know, she's the only mother I have, and I love him so much. I love her.
I have to do the cooking, laundry, washing, everything like a girl. I just want to be with my mom all the time. Just want to assist her with things around home, the chores that I do. Hello, this is my mother, Agnes.
I love my son. He's a good boy.
When I was 5 years old, my mom starts to, giving me dresses and stuff like that. Being my family only has 2 girls.
All my brothers and my sister, they call me their sister. They don't call me a brother, you know.
Well, when I first went to Samoa, I was teaching at a small college there, and the president's secretary was a very tall, statuesque woman. Well, after I lived there for some months, someone told me that she was not a woman, and I could not believe it. And, I mean, after all, she was the president's secretary. Well, of course, I saw what they meant, and I began to see these people all over the place.
I had first become intrigued by whawhawhinis years ago when I was in Samoa on an assignment for UNICEF. Now I was back with a film crew, and the people we met started to teach us that there is a Samoan way of looking at the world.
This is the voice of Radio Polynesia, your one and only sound on Steering Island. This beautiful Tuesday morning. Minimum temperature last night in U.T.O.P.I.A was 25 degrees Celsius with the humidity of 85%. I'm Tulsi and I shall be your host from now until 2 o'clock this afternoon. And before I continue on, thank you, Spies. That was a beautiful service from this morning until this time. In the meantime, we continue on with the variety of hits and oldies, music to make you move and cruise, and of course music to mellow you out. Good morning. I was raised up as a whawhawhine. Over here in Samoa, you are very acceptable as you are accepted as a part of the community here in the country. And I was raised up as a whawhawhine, or as a queen. And I went to school. It was so hard for me to wear the boys' costumes, the boys' uniform, because at the same time I really thought to myself that I was a real woman. We have a family of 14 children. 8 of them are girls. Hey, what?
No, 5 are girls.
Oh, 5 are girls. And 9 are boys.
Ma? Kakalo fa'iyay o kangaka. Mom, Kiki, sorry, Mom is sick. She's got a stroke and we're trying to massage her. Mom, Kiki, my favorite.
When I was a little kid, I started to see myself as a female, the female gender, being role models, seeing her comb her hair, wearing her lava up here, sweeping, cooking, ironing, washing. To me, it was a role model, and I took it up as an example for me. As I grew up, I never thought of it as being an odd sort of a character that I'll be taking up when I grow up and becoming older.
There was no problem. To be honest, there's no problem. When he was growing up, he likes to have his hair growing. He have a long hair, and he likes staying in the house and do all the housework and help out with Mum and all what the girls do. He likes doing that.
As a Samoan, I believe that they were whawhawhinis in the past, feminine men. But they did not have them in the respect that we have them as of now, being drag queens, being put aside as different sex,
They were there as part of the family, you know. They did the cooking. They did most of like looking after the elderly. They did a lot of caring for the little children in the family. You know, they had their own carved out in the Samoan society in the past, like we still have it now.
I was reading the missionary journals and reading 19th century sorts of things on Samoa. And one of the things that was curious to me was there were no reports of Fa'afafines in these early sources. And I slowly realized, for some reason, between contact, or between the time when the missionaries arrived, circa 1830, and the present, that there'd been a great increase in transvestism. And this was sort of the first question I encountered on the subject. Why had there been such a great increase in transvestism?
Maybe the Fa'afafines had always been there, and some people simply hadn't noticed.
There's a little bit of controversy about whether there were Fa'afafines before 1960, and I believe that there were, and probably back for thousands of years. And Margaret Mead is one example of an anthropologist who talked about boys and young men who are acting in the role of women. One of the boys that she met in Samoa, and she was there in 1926, named Sasi, was an effeminate boy and did women's work and liked to hang out with the women, and the women liked him and accepted him as one of their own. And we would call that person a Fa'afafine today.
Sa umangaku ele se Fa'afafine, sa umangaku aul, ia pe kaiange ua ola mai. Ia ua pese kenge ale pese ka.
Ya fia ya
Le ai ua fia la vai ai, wa masangi fo I so mai fo su inga o mea, ta nga o matu o mea. Ia le ngata fo le nga ole, ta pe nga la vai so se mea kuka.
I think I am very, very humbled and very proud that the Fa'afafines community is well accepted in our country. Most of the families consider having a Fa'afafine in a Samoan home as an asset because in the plantation they are men. In the house they are wonderful and great housekeepers. So I was very interested in this issue, especially I was brought up amongst quite a number of Fa'afafine at home and in the village. One of my great-uncle was a Fa'afafine. And this Fa'afafine had played a great part in my own family, especially the bringing of the family together. And this had also directed me to look at other Fa'afafines.
She had an uncle.
I had an uncle Fa'afafine, the famous George Loke Fluin. He passed away for a few years ago.
Yeah, this is the one. That's her uncle Fa'afafine.
Anthropologist Derek Freeman didn't record any use of the term Fa'afafine and didn't hear about any Fa'afafines when he was in Samoa in the 1940s. He says that there were no Fa'afafines that he could discover until the 1960s when the culture was drastically changed. But I'm positive that there were Fa'afafines in the 1940s, and he just didn't notice them because they weren't as public as they are now.
Professor Freeman did not want to participate in the film, but Tanya, who was raised as a Fa'afafine in the 1940s, did.
I think the percentages of Fa'afafines in Samoa is most of the family has about 2 or 3 on each family. You know, it's growing very fast now.
Are you playing, Tanya? I mean, tennis. Are you playing today?
It depends on Celia, if she's putting me in her team now.
Because everybody knows Tanya. And they're all scared of Tanya. Whenever she's around, she's the boss. She's a well-known young lady in town. And I don't mean it derogatory.
When I was young, I only heard of Tanya, but I never saw Tanya then. My older siblings, relatives, talking, and they talk about Tanya, the way she dances and the way she dresses. But I never... excuse me, I'm being interviewed.
Go ahead.
But I never get to see her because, you know, I was too young. I wasn't allowed to go to those, nightclubs and places like that.
I'm over 50 now. But I started from Aggie's dancing since I was 7 years old. I do all the solos. I was dancing with the girls. Because all my life I've been with the girls all the time. I danced like a girl. And brought up like a girl.
Sometimes when we do things in school like traditional dancing and that, we do the dancing that the women's do, you know. So in the same time you were also a male and a female in schools. It's quite funny, but then, you know, from my own experience, it was great.
All South Sea natives love to dance, and the Samoans are certainly no exception. Unlike the Hawaiian hula, the motions convey little meaning or ideas, but are spontaneous expressions of the gaiety and the exuberance of a race of happy people.
This US documentary was being made while Tanya was starring at Aggie Gray's hotel. But the film never mentions Fa'afafines.
When I was dancing for Aggie's, I was the only one that doing all the different island dancings, like Tahitians and Hawaiians in line, line up. I danced with Marlon Brando. I showed him how to shake the hips and do the Tahitian numbers.
She was the star of the show here. It was Tanya and Grandma. She used to just dance there. You know, get up there and she would be announced and away she goes. She just like did something to the audience, you know, just got them going. They were fascinated with her. So yeah, she was a star.
Traditionally, men are the entertainers within Samoa. For the fact that Fa'afafine possesses these true spirits of both sexes, I believe that it is part of their nature, or it is part of our nature to entertain. I think it is what comes naturally, really. From my understanding, in a pre-Christian time, the two sexes, the Aumanga and the Awaluma, were both totally, strictly divided. The only people they were allowed to interact with the Aumanga and the Awaluma were the Fa'afafine. I believe that Fa'afafine is a person that comes between two genders. A Fa'afafine is a person who possesses two spirits of the both gender.
Hello, welcome, come in.
Cindy performs at the Margaret's bar. They say she is the Tanya of the new generation.
Everywhere I go, I've always managed to, hook everybody. Usually I tell them, because I think it's only fair to tell them. I go out with them, and once they ask me, to bed, and I thought, oh, something you should know. I'm not really what you think I am. And then it's so funny because sometimes men are so naive, They go, "You married?" And I said, "No." "You a virgin?" "No." you have a boyfriend?" "No." And then they go all through this, and I kept saying, "No, no, no." And they're, "Okay, tell me." Tell them. And then they sort of like, "Oh,
The first time I saw Cindy, when I was at Aggie's, working at Aggie's, and I saw her came in with a flare skirt, and she went around like that. And I said to the girls, "Gee, what a good-looking thing. What a pity that she's not a girl."
Where did you ever come up, Blondie? Hi, Auntie.
Cindy seems to be a niece to me. Always been good friends from the start. And when Cindy was in New Zealand for 2 years, I rang her to come back. She came along and the show started. Just 3 of them, just Tosi, Blondie, and her. She's very talented, and I appreciate her and the rest of them.
Okay. So now let us see if
Watching the rehearsal is Peter, Cindy's boyfriend. Peter is from Australia on a posting to Samoa. He works for the Australian High Commission.
How did I meet this boyfriend? Oh my God, I came back from New Zealand after the tour. And I went to the office and then I saw this shaved head guy in the office and I go, ooh, who's that, you know? I wasn't even thinking about what I was doing at the office and I went home and I went, he's nice looking. And I was in the back of my head, I was like, oh, I wish you'll come to the show. I hope you'll come to the show. I hope you'll come to the show. And it was like, you know, half of it wishing was praying. Please, Lord, bring him to the show. That was a Tuesday I met him, and then Wednesday, Thursday, he was the first one there at the show. And then I went to the back to the dressing room and said, oh, yes, yes, yes. That means he likes me.
Cindy lives with Peter in the Australian High Commission compound high on the hill overlooking the Samoan capital.
Oh, she's a housewife now. She's changed. But nowadays, she's staying home, look after Peter, and, you know, like a housewife, helping Peter do the washing, help, you know, like a mother now.
This is the Samoan way of opening the machine while it's working.
She's happy. She's got someone that, you know, really loves her and, you know, protecting her.
What's my style? A request seems unreasonable, but really isn't. You have no reason to be jealous of a faithful new love. Ah! At work, asked to be transferred to a new department.
Okay.
Hey, it says you have to ask to be transferred to a new department.
When's your birthday, please?
August. It's very nice to see them so close. It's a very happy couple, and I believe they're in love and they love each other, and which is good. Little things like that can always happen, and I'm so glad that she has finally decided to settle down, and I believe that she will settle down now for real.
Hi, Auntie. Auntie, where have you been? We have to go and look all over the town for a blender.
Why?
I want a
Why are you
fruit
looking
diet.
for a blender? Why do you need a diet?
Because I've put on weight. I've lost my waist.
When was the last time you had the wax?
You're gonna tell me
You're gonna
off.
have to shave it from me. Now come in.
I'm here.
Who is Peter anyway?
Peter.
Are you now living with him?
Yeah, we are out.
And?
We now have a relationship.
And?
And what?
Is he good in bed? Or who's doing all the work?
Ow!
Must be you doing all the work.
I taught him.
Oh, you taught him?
Taught him well.
Uh-huh.
And he's really good now. Ow!
Cindy is a very, very popular person, and she has a lot of talent, I'm telling you, and she is also a $1 million woman on stage, both on stage and off stage, and everyone just adores her. She has a beautiful personality as well. Hello.
I don't think Cindy ever traveled in town with a flat chest. Maybe when she was little, but ever since I know her, she was always like that. And she's always a female to me. She's 100% female than male.
Okay, thank you very much.
But according to her, when you talk to her, she doesn't want an operation. She reckons she can do it like that.
The way she would look, the way she would walk, what she would have on, how she would sing a song. I mean, I said to myself, I wish I had the guts to go out and do what Cindy was doing, sing in public.
Attracting attention to yourself was very much part of the pre-Christian Samoan woman's role, or the girl's role, which was delegitimized by Christianity. The missionaries came to Samoa, and gradually over the course of the 19th century and the early 20th century, the girls sort of go off stage. The girl's role was then eventually taken over by the fa'afafine. They show off sexuality, and it's still okay for them. In a way, it's no longer okay for girls.
I think the influence of Western culture is profound on the fa'afafines. After the Christian missionaries came, the women were forced to wear coverings of their breasts and regular dresses, and in fact they even banned the flowered lei because they thought that that was too sexual. So it really made an influence on the way that women and men behaved and dressed after the coming of the missionaries.
Samoa is a very good place for a fa'afafine to be brought up, you know. Even the religion-wise, you know, we go to church almost every Sunday. The minister, the pastor, except what I am. You dress as a woman to go to church as long as you go to church. They don't care what you are, what you wear, but as long as you go to church, you know.
I've been teaching at St. Teresa Primary here. I had no problem. And it's like they give all the responsibilities to the fa'afafines because they know they can do a much better job. An advantage of being a fa'afine in the Sunday school teaching are the qualities that I have. Those of like a feminine mother, and on the other side I can be hard as a harsh father. So there's a balance there that I can utilize those qualities to better the learning of the students.
Ya wau o aya tia saunga luenga ya ufanga pa I polu ya lo mango fungi ko ska ko al fangi awa fone fa fenga fu manga luenga le fu ngai ve kaimi.
Yeah, I belong to that religion, you know. I'm a Mormon as well, but the trouble is, you know, there's my smoking and drinking, but I'm still a Mormon. Because all my family are all Mormons. I'm a hanky-panky Mormon.
But in some parts of Samoan society, things weren't quite so relaxed and accepting.
In the church, in the families, we just accept them as they are. We accept them as human beings. We have to accept them in the church because that's our Christian principles, you know. I mean, love, regardless of what they are, we have to love them. I strongly oppose the fact that they've changed themselves to Fa'afafines because there are no such things. I mean, God made man and women. It was never, Fa'afafine was never made, I mean, as a separate sex. You know, in God's eyes, they've changed the whole, you know, creation.
Ia wa tofi a mea uma. A tonu filifili a ole tu te no foi ai. O mai o te tautina tu na ole tu e sila fia mea uma. Mai o te fai atu. Le ai lava ma se upo se fai so tautalinga. Pe vali o laungutu. Pe vali o tingilima. Le ai te musu te le wa foi la o te lo ne mo ya wa o Fa'afafine. A fai ala o vinga pe ona ye te lo Fa'afafine. Ola towa ya la towa se sa mai foi mai ya tau foi atu sa sili au tonu to te fio na tu la ngo to foi.
There are clear cuts of two types of Fa'afafines existing in Samoa: the cultural Fa'afafines and the new city kind of Fa'afafines.
They keep saying that I should tone it down, and they think I'm too much. Well, they've had their days.
Cindy's very young. She's got a little bit of an attitude, and I always lecture her. The only advice that I've been giving to her is don't overdo it. If you want to be a lady, act like one.
This is what we are. We are just a bunch of bitches. We're bitching about other bitches. Hiya, Blondie. Is Tanya coming tonight? Who's Tanya? Tanya. There are many Tanyas in town. Okay, the old bag Tanya. The old lady. Yeah, with the floppy boobs.
I don't think I'll make it because I'm going to play bingo. I love gambling. That's me. Ikaw le merkas kalikinga le kumangan. Mari kaya nga ko kay o mali.
Bingo! Go!
I think that the Western culture has really transformed the Fa'afafine culture in Samoa from what it was in the past to what it is today, which is something that is very showy and very entertainment-oriented, and that's because in part of the Western emphasis on individuality and creative self-expression and competition. I mean, the Fa'afafines of today are in competition with each other. Who is going to be the queen of all the Fa'afafines? And I think that was unheard of in the ancient times.
Chief Lutele is Tossi's uncle. He has noticed the westernisation of the Fa'afafine too.
the way that they act, sometimes I don't like it. You know, the actions. I don't like it. Because, as you know, that some other Fa'afafine, they're wearing skirts around in the public. The skirt. But I don't like Tositu. She's too much on the side that I hate. Because she's making up, the hairstyle and painting on himself.
We have a dedication for this morning going out especially to these beautiful girls in the netball team and the Fa'afafine netball tournament here in the island. Thank you for tuning in and welcome to Samoa.
Come up, dear. Come up here, darling. Come up. Oh. Jesus Christ. Haven't seen you for that long time. How you been? I'm fine. You're fine. Come sit over here, darling. Please. Oh. Jesus Christ, how are you? I'm fine. Wait, were you working at your plantation? I was working very hard at the plantation and over there.
Mishi, Hasey and Angie from the Sunday school were all heading into town for the big netball game.
Andy. Okay, there's Angie. Hi, Charlie. Hello. Do I know you? What's your name again? Angie. That's Angie. Okay. Sit over here, dear.
Doing the washing, that's where I like the Fa'afafine. Just like there's another Tora at home, responsible for the washing, the kitchen utensils, and the laundry, and so forth, the ironing. But it's all right. It doesn't matter if a Fa'afafine can be a Fa'afafine, but still, don't wearing any clothes or anything that will make him more of a Fa'afine.
Hi, girls. Oh, you thought it'd be later. Hello. Katrina. Okay, that's Katrina. Hello. That's Sally.
If you want to understand transvestism in Samoa, you have to take a step back and you have to think about how gender is constituted in different societies and really how identity is constituted in different societies. There are some societies that are egocentric in orientation, and there are others that are sociocentric. Egocentric sorts of societies, your identity is inside. It's that true inner self. In sociocentric societies, identity is really based in social role. But in a sociocentric society, gender is not something inner. Gender, too, is a social role. And so that means, that men play one role and women play another role. If gender is just a role, well, you can play your gender's role or you can play the other gender's role.
Now, this is the star. I adopted him when he was 3 months old. Adopted her from my cousin. Well, this is what I always wanted. I wanted a baby. For over 10 years or more. And then I had a chance with my cousin. So I have everything legal.
She can show to other Fa'afafines here that, a Fa'afafine can raise a child too. So I think that's a good idea for her to adopt Michael. And she really loves the baby.
This is Maxine. She's my cousin. And she's here staying with us, helping out with the baby. I'm very sure he's gonna call me Mom. I'll tell him what I am and what I want to be called. Well, would it confuse him? I don't think so.
All
our coaches are Fafafinis and they've been training the girls in the last couple of months. That's our top shooter there. Pole defense, there's another Fafafine. And then we have Nironi Manoa, he's one of the managers, and another Fafafine who's on our team.
She's playing now. Mishi, GD. Mishi is a very good netball player. She's, helped, the girls a lot, a lot. She's very good person. Very good personality and she's put on weight. She's put on weight.
Final score is 75.
Like hell, I'm sort of guessing.
Where were you tonight? Okay, see you later. Oh. See you again, okay.
This is the seawall, and the seawall is like a place where everyone meets after the clubs, and that's where you see the queens. And we get picked up on the seawall a lot of times. Because in Samoa, getting a guy like that is very easy. I'm not saying that the majority of the Samoan men are gay, but I have to say that it's just different. We can attract men just like that. I reckon that Samoan men are very strong and very well built. Palangis, of course, are like that, but not all of them.
What is the relationship with Samoan guys to the Fafafinis?
The relationship with the Samoan guys, I have to say that some are sweet and some are not. Some they just want to do you just for one night, and some they just want to let it go on until for a period of time.
If I put the percentage of men here that being with Fafafinis here in Samoa, it's like 99.7. And I'm telling you the truth.
I think a lot of women know too. A lot of women know that.
A lot of women know, for sure that Fafafinis sucks cocks better than they do.
That's all they ever do is suck cocks, I suppose.
No, see, there are lots of other things we do. Don't you forget that,
you got 4.
Don't you forget that out of the whole body, there's more than one hole.
I just heard they have 4. I know there's 2.
In Samoa, of course, we still classify ourselves as women. We don't call ourselves gays. There is no gay community in this country.
We only get to go out and look for straight men, as they high dive, But neither towards another gay, because in Samoa, a gay friend would be like a sister to you.
Queens sleeping with queens. That's I've never seen a queen sleeping with another queen in this country. I mean, it's funny when people ask that to us, ask those questions. Oh, do you sleep together? I mean, do you make love with each other? And I say, oh, please, she's my friend. She's actually like a sister to me. I would never do that. It's just that it's so hard to explain because we were brought up in the Samoa, and our Samoan way of life, it's very, very strong. Even in other countries of the world, gay men do sleep around. I mean, they just do sleep with each other. But over here in Samoa, we don't do that. Now, we are very much attracted to straight males, but we don't sleep around with, imagine sleeping with another queen. I mean, it won't give you any feelings at all. That won't make you horny or, because, well, of course I'm speaking on my own self because I've never slept with one before. And it's something that I would never want to do in my life.
I haven't been with anybody else since I've been with Peter. Because I don't know what's wrong with my 6 organs. It's not fancying anybody anymore. I want to go in the class, okay? Hey. Okay.
Peter was starting to get nervous about being in the film. He was worried it might affect his position at the Australian High Commission. The next day, Peter got some bad news.
Apparently I have to move out of the house tomorrow, and sometimes tomorrow, and check back into my dressing room until the film crew leaves. Hello.
Is she moving out? Why? Well, something that I had to find out. No, she never said any word about it. Not that I know of.
That night, Cindy moved back into her dressing room at Margaret's bar.
This is where I used to live, and this is where I'm coming back, believe it or not. That's my bed you're standing on. That is going to be my bed again. Now I have to make this place again a little home for me. Until you guys leave. They're trying to tell me it's not my sexuality that matters, you know, but it's... What else? Why else would they... You know, if it wasn't my sexuality, they would have... Still, they wouldn't even, you know, do that. It wouldn't even matter.
1 week later, Peter was transferred back to Australia.
If a Fa'afafine like myself go overseas, not only I'm confronted with conformity, but I'm also confronted with racism and homophobia. The Western country is constantly analyzing and trying to define what the subject is. And then that sort of analyzing, I believe, is quite a threat to the Fa'afafine. To label a Fa'afafine gay, transvestites, and transsexuals does not fit what a Fa'afafine is.
I went to Australia on a free ticket. That was from the pageant that I won here, the Charity Queen pageant, and that was my prize. A return fare down to Sydney. And I've got a couple of Queen friends down there who did tell me what it was like to be a Queen down in Sydney. They said, when you walk in the streets, you have to be very careful. So I said to myself, no, I don't think I belong here. I belong home. I belong here. This is the evening gown that I wore in 1984. See how far back it was? And this is my little belt that I used. Now, if I am to try and put this back on again, very embarrassing, to be honest. La la. See how big I've grown? Oh heavens! Oh, I mean, it's so degrading. It's so embarrassing.
We went to see how Cindy was going in the dressing room.
My life is miserable at the moment. Everything does not have a happy ending. Full stop. Cut.
But the show had to go on. It was to be a fitting finale to our stay in Samoa, an event full of ambiguity and emotion. Now, as we were leaving, we were starting to see things the Samoan way, and we knew we were as close as we would get this time to understanding the complexities of life facing the Fa'afafines in paradise.
What happened to the netball?
I'll be one.
Yeah, these guys are in for free.
Blondie led the cast in the usual prayer. As usual for Cindy's show, the house was packed, but the mood backstage was a bit somber. Cindy was getting ready for the number everyone was waiting for.
Hola!
All right, ladies and gentlemen, now let's go up on stage, all the way from upstate New York, Western Samoa. Here we have our very own Miss Tala.
Welcome back, everyone. How are you all feeling after that? It's been such a great experience to see how a lot of what's been going on back then is still kind of, still sort of continues today. But as you've seen, there was a list of our donors. Once again, I'd like to send a shout out to all of them, to thank them so much for helping us to organize today's event. And at this time, I'd like to welcome back Cindy for some Q&A. So make sure you get your questions ready, drop them into the comment section, and we'll be working through all of that to sort of send some information through to Cindy as well. Today. But as you've seen, there was a list of our donors.
Hi,
Once again, I'd
Cindy.
like to...
Hi, darling. Oh my God, I'm like, I've got like 5 gadgets here, and I'm trying to watch all of them.
I know it's difficult to sort of navigate now that everything is virtual.
Oh yeah. Oh my God. Tell me about it.
How are you
That's
feeling
like
after taking that stroll down memory lane?
well, I'm not that kind of person that looks back and regrets stuff. Whatever you say, whatever you did in the past, don't worry about it. The past is the past. Leave it at the past. You just have to move on with your life. Don't regret things that happens then. I mean, apart from stuff that if you did say something that hurt someone, then you do owe that person an apology. So
Well, that's a great way to sort of live, right? I mean, you don't want to, you try to let go of things easily so it doesn't affect you. But I want to sort of dive into some questions, have some deeper conversation around the film. One of the things that I noticed was that you were sort of painted as, or you were sort of vilified at some point throughout the documentary. There was a scene too where you were talking about them holding you back, them telling you that you're too much, and I want to sort
yeah.
of ask you. How did you feel about the film's portrayal of your life and your experiences, and sort of like if there was anything that you could change about that, what would that be and why?
I personally, for myself, I think there's nothing that I would change. That was my life then, and I'm very happy about it. Everything that I did back then, it was meant to happen for me. It was not happen for everybody. Maybe there's a little bit in there that some other people relate to, but what happened in my life then was my life, and I'm happy with it. I look back and I don't regret anything in there. I mean, the only thing I probably regret in there was like a cheeky mouth to my older sister Tanya, but because she was saying some stuff about me. But if that documentary was filmed now and she said those stuff about me, I wouldn't even care. But I was young then, and that always happens. But it's like for nowadays, I've never ever once try and educate a young Fafafine how to live their life. I would never tell them, oh, if you want to be a woman, behave. Because I always, nowadays, if someone says that to me, look, I'm not a freaking woman, so I'm just me. I live my life the way I want. So don't tell me to be something that I'm not. So I would never do that to other young Fafafingers and tell them how to try and skip, because reality and the truth is, we all have to learn and find our own way through life by living it.
That's so true, especially for Fafafine. You have not only your family, but sometimes your friends tell you to lead your life a certain way, stick to a certain path.
Yeah,
And,
but yeah,
being Fafafine is already difficult. So it's great
you
to have you encourage everyone, even the youth who are coming up now, to sort of pave their own way.
Yeah, well, it's different nowadays as well, where I think it's because the people that were ahead of us have paved the way for us, and probably us as well have opened people's mind up and made people acceptable of us, and people are used to it. And so the young one, the generation nowadays, they find it very easy for them to maneuver their lives around and just live freely. But no, but I think that's just the way life goes, and they will grow up as well and probably do the same for.
I love Cindy. Cindy, are you there? Trying to get her to reconnect. Oh, I think we lost her. Let everyone know that she's trying to reconnect. Oh, hi, Judy. Just a few minutes, everyone. Sorry about that. I think Cindy is trying to reconnect.
Judy, I love your makeup.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I'm being Zoom bombed at the moment. I'm gonna bring in Tepa. To see if you guys can have a conversation. Okay. In the meantime, I'm going to invite Tepatasi Vaina who is our programs manager, will sort of continue the discussion to see what her takeaway is from the film and sort of navigate through your questions.
Hello, everyone.
Hi. Thank you so much for joining us. How did you respond to the documentary?
It's difficult watching it. Like part of the decision to show this was I was already aware that there were very ignorant comments and portrayal of Papakina in the film. And even the way the film was marketed, it was still told from a Westerner's narrative saying that it's an exploration of Fafafine and how boys were raised to become girls, right? And so for me, it's difficult watching it, but my personal belief is the ignorant is very much relevant in our lives and our journey as Fafafine, that it's important for us to see how much we progressed and that we have a long way to go with our own society. Looking back in documentaries like in that film, we can see the progression from where it was to where we are now. And even with the film, like the film started up being marketed as Paradise Bend's Boys Will Be Girls eventually, and I think progression of time and people becoming aware and educated, the film's title changed to Paradise Bend, Gender Diversity in Samoa. And so definitely it's a sign of how we're progressing with times. I see that Cindy is back on. Would we like to bring Cindy back on?
Yeah, sorry. I don't know what happened. It's hard to communicate also things like this, especially when you're in Samoa. That's the internet. It's not actually 4G. I think we're still in 3G over here in Samoa.
Not a problem. Totally understandable. Well, welcome back to the circle.
Thank you.
I want to turn our attention, our conversation, to some questions that we've been receiving through the comment section on Facebook. This question is submitted by Palisi Teoyando, and she wants to know, what are your feelings about being a trans woman and the strict teachings of Fasamoa? Do you think the Fasamoa picks and chooses how a Fafafine should be defined?
I think, well, my belief is that there are the lines between the culture and Fafafine is very clear, and it takes for you to be a Fafafine that grew up in Samoa and the culture to know where to stand and where not to cross the line.
How do you think the Fafafine community is perceived now after 21 years since the film? Do you think that the film encompassed the totality of what it means to be Fafafine?
Well, there's so many stories in the documentary over here that we just saw, and it's not just my life. So, and like I said before in the beginning, one life story doesn't cover everyone else's life story, because we all have a story each, and to tell and to live, and so it's basically. You take what you see that you can relate to in the documentary, and and for yourself, for your own good, but don't try and live the life of someone that's in the documentary, because it never works out like that. You've got your own story, you've got your own life, and at the end you tell your own story. No one tells, even the documentary itself. There's a lot of things that's missing in the documentary. The documentary is only a little, like a very brief edit story of everyone's lives over there. So no judgment and all that, but so far for the Fafafine community in Samoa, we have come a long way, from being called Aipoki and Susupoki and all that, to being well respected. Sorry, my mouth has got no
No,
filter.
that's amongst many
So,
other things.
yeah, so in case there's some fake out, I'm sorry you all know what I'm like. So this is not church, this is our internet. So yeah, so we have come a long way, and we're so respected and so well loved in our country. We even have people, Afafafingis, who are doctors, nurses. We work in government, departments and all that. I mean, they're so well respected, and at the same time, we are respected because we have earned that respect because we gave respect to the people.
Well, it's great to hear that Samoa has started to accept the identities of Fa'afafine and is sort of transitioning into becoming more, I want to say, open to different sorts of identities.
Yeah.
I want to submit a question from Tony Fretten, who is asking, how do you share and define in this day and age between the terminology of transgender woman and fa'afafine? The film had challenging old terminology, and we're getting better. Would love to hear your perspective on that.
Well, I have a different perspective of myself as well, when it comes to gender, ginger, gender, and sexuality and all that. My gender and my sexuality does not relate to someone else's genders and sexuality, and I think we're all different. So I will not gonna really speak about that because I know there's some things out there that they feel different about themselves and me. So I can't really speak for everybody and say this is how we should be and this is how transsexual should be and this is how Fa'afafine should be. I think everyone's entitled to their own opinion about themselves and their identity, and people should respect that. Even us, we should respect each other for our beliefs and and the terms that describes us.
And that's the beauty of having to be able to live in your own truth, is that you're given the freedom to sort of tell people who you are rather than how
Yeah.
they should perceive you.
Well, secretly, I have this theory about Fa'afafine. I think how when the societies used to mock us and make fun of us, but I really believe that, not think, I believe that the society is so unfair to us because I think we were pretty much, because we were different when we were young, so we were labeled. So to them, we are Fa'afafingis, but for some reason, and we were raised up, and we all believe, okay, when you're a Fa'afafine, you're not supposed to marry a woman, because you want to you want to be a woman, so you can't. But I always thought, what if we weren't being brainwashed and being labeled those days when we were young, and being called Fa'afafine? Is there a possibility that some of us would grow up and have wives and kids? Because I think there's a lot of shame in the Fa'afafine community that they can't marry women and have kids because of the upbringing that we had. I don't know if there's another Fa'afafine that thinks like me, but I do think like that. When I went to Hawaii, I was really surprised, and it opened my eyes that there's so many Fa'afafines in Hawaii that have wives and kids. And the wives speak so very highly of their Fa'afafine husbands. And it's really beautiful. And I've watched them, how they are to each other, and I thought, wow, it's so beautiful. And nowadays, it made me think like that.
Right.
And because they brainwashed, the society pretty much brainwashed us and raised us like that, and more like encourage us to be Fa'afafingis because that's how they saw us. but to me, I think if we didn't have that upbringing, some of us would turn out differently.
I can agree. I can relate to that because, even with me coming up, I was sort of conflicted, or I wouldn't say conflicted, but I was sort of constrained to, to being in a box, put in a box, kind of sort of. And so
Yeah.
that does resonate with me because I never ever thought to wonder what if Fafafine was, there were no restrictions or no barriers around
Yeah.
how we choose to live our lives and who we choose to
Yeah.
engage with romantically, sexually,
Yeah.
openly.
Yeah.
But that's definitely something to consider.
Yeah. It's just like, but yeah, I think it's just society. That's people. You cannot change anything like that about people. But for us individually, I think that we should think, don't, about our lives and how we grow up, and be honest about how we feel and just live our lives, because no one else is going to come and live your life for you.
Absolutely. We have another question from
Yes, fire away.
Princess Ova'a would like to know, do we continue to live our lives as Fa'afafine in Samoa, walking and abiding by what people want us to conform to?
That is a big no from me. I think we should just live our own lives, and as long as we abide to the lines and things like that, I don't think that anyone can say anything or do anything to stop us from living our lives. Samoa is pretty much a really safe place for Fafafinis to grow up in. But I think in the future it's going to be different for Fafafinis, as long as we talk about subjects like this, and it will make other Fafafinis think. And I can say that probably in the future, next few years, the Fafafinis generation is going to be different from us, from our generation. Yeah.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah, of course. Well, it's really, really good. It's the only time that like for example, Samoa is so relaxed about Fafafine. They don't do anything or say anything. They accept it everywhere. But until you do something stupid, and that's when people. But then unfortunately, if one person do something stupid, but everyone else gets it.
Right. And that's sort of what I kind of want to follow up with you about towards the ending of the film. And forgive me if this is a little bit too personal, but I'm curious to know what was it like for you?
Is that
Can you hear me?
Can you ask again?
Oh no. So I'm curious to know, what was it like for you to date openly as a Fafafina in the 90s? Did you experience any type of discrimination from the community because of it? And how did you cope around that?
The community as what? Fafafini community or the people?
How the society in general sort of
society,
your relationship at the time.
Society was good. They were accepting of my relationship. My friends, because I pretty much hang with just my friends, because I don't drink, I don't smoke, I don't do things like that. So I know the people that I hang out with, and I don't hang out with them most of the time, all the time, or too long, because they all drink. So when they start to get drunk, it's my cue to leave. So my circle of friends, it's really small, and it's probably because of my mouth as well. That's why I don't have a lot of friends. But all my friends were very accepting and very supportive of me and my relationship. They even get along with my partner then all the time. But the only community that didn't like me then, when I had Palangi boyfriends, was the only time I get little here and there is from our Fafafine community. They just say stuff about me because I always like Palangi, so they call me I'm Fia Palangi, and I don't want to be Fafafingi, and I don't want to be hello. What do you want me to change? I'm a Fafafingi, I'm a Samoa, and there's nothing else I can. It's just you just have to accept me for the way I live my life. It doesn't mean just because I like Palangi relationship doesn't mean I don't like Samoan people, and doesn't mean I don't like, I want to be via Palangi. It's just, yeah.
Well, you like what you like, and I mean, there's nothing you can do about that, right?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, what do you want me to do? Marry I don't know, someone that I don't want to go out with? But that was the only thing. It was not so bad, but I can feel them talking, in the bush, about me and say comments. But you know me, I have an attitude where as long as it doesn't chip my skin, just keep on living,
That's the spirit.
Yeah, of course.
So we have a couple more questions here. I think I see Marian Milena. She would like to know, who were your Fa'afafine inspirations growing up in Samoa, and is there a Fa'afafine that inspires you today?
Who were my Fafafi? That's the thing. I never really hanged out with Fafafis till like I said, I was like pushed to the side by our own community. And I think even now, I don't know. But like I said, doesn't worry me. I don't know. It was more the people that I was. I think it was more the entertainers, the stars, and that I was idolizing those days. I think that's where I got my inspiration from for being, I don't know, being Fafa singing.
I think we have another one here from Manetuya Ana. Cindy, have you experienced any pushback from the Samoan community for making the documentary before or after? And how did you cope with any discrimination or pushback you may have received?
Okay, to be honest, I'm not being like too proud here, but I don't think that's ever going to happen to me in Samoa. I haven't had any of that in Samoa. No one has criticized anything to me because, yeah, I think nowadays, people are really respectful of me, and I think because I've got the attitude, I don't care attitude, and I'm very straightforward. So people tend to not speak anything negative to me about anything like that. Not even
Oh, I think we lost her again. Cindy, are you there? Oh,
bye. So yeah, but so that's why I said it's very important to live your own life and have your own experience with life, because people might not say things to me. It doesn't mean they won't say things to someone else. So yeah, it's hard for me to pinpoint that to my life, and compare someone else's another Fafafingi's life to it, because we're just different.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Is that some more questions I hear?
No, just everything.
I'm hearing bing, bing, bing.
I have a little bit of lagging on my end also, but
Okay, you're a busy girl.
I'd like to give you an opportunity to close us out. If you have any final thoughts or advice for those who have been watching our documentary today.
Oh, can you say that again now?
Oh no, I was just okay. I just wanted to give you an opportunity to close us out. If you had any final thoughts that you'd like to part all of our viewers with, or any advice or life advice that you are willing to share with everybody. I think we lost her again. Or she's coming back on in just a second.
Eyes on what?
Okay. There you are.
Yeah, I'm back. Sorry about the connection.
No problem.
So what
No,
was?
I was just I just wanted to see if you had any final thoughts that you'd like to part with our viewers. What sort of advice you would give everyone watching in response to well, your life experience in general.
Come on, don't be like that connection. Oh yeah, we're back again. Oh, we're back. Oh, sorry about the connection. Oh my God, Vodafone, get your shit together. Uh, um, so I know we've got Vodafone in Samoa. Okay, look, I know we've all watched the documentary, and please do me a favor, don't make any conclusions about the the documentary. It's not a whole story of someone's life in there. It's only little bits of, I mean, how many days in a year? And God, I'm 50 now, so so as I don't know, some other people, that older girls in the documentary. What you see in the documentary doesn't is got nothing compared to the life that we've lived, and you don't know how what we went through and what we had to do to get to where we are nowadays. I hope you've all enjoyed the documentary and have a little bit of understanding about our lives, And our lives is just like everybody else's life. We have ups and downs, the shit, the good and everything like that. So it's basically we all have the same lives, and no one promised us a perfect life. There's going to be challenges and all that in life. So the best thing you could do is live your own life. Don't try and live my life, or don't try and live someone else's life, because you're a totally different person. What's good for me is not good for you. What's good for the other Fafine is not good for the other Fafine. So be true to yourself and live your truth and live your life. And as long as always keeping in mind, always be good to other people.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much, Cindy, for that sound advice and that heartfelt message. I want to say how grateful I am to be able to meet you, although I wish it was in different circumstances versus this virtual platform. So I want to take time to say thank you, thank you, thank you so much on behalf of U.T.O.P.I.A Seattle and everyone watching wherever you are in the world. Thank you for tuning in to our little show this evening. And I hope that you continue to remain safe during this trying time. And we're happy and always will be here for you if ever should you need. Um,
Thank you very much. If ever should I need,
maybe for a new Vodafone.
oh well. Oh, thank you so much, girls. I really see. I'm on this side of the world, and I travel a lot to other places as well because of work. But I do actually keep an eye on you, girls. I watch and I admire the stuff you do, but it's good, and I mean, I like it's a real joy for me to actually see young ones growing up like you girls, and I know I'm old back now, but and to see that you guys are happy and you're doing beautiful stuff, for our community and help other people as well, and it's just great for us to what do you call it? Network as well at the same time.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Cindy. I once again goodbye to you, and I hope to hear from. I hope that we continue to keep our connection stronger throughout this pandemic.
Yeah, we should. We should.
We take care, and I'll talk to you again soon.
All right. Thank you. Mwah, 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 mwah. Bye. Love you.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.
Oh, that was so wonderful. Well, we're about to to conclude our program for the evening. I'd like to take this opportunity to turn the floor over to our Executive Director, Taffy, who will be coming on shortly to acknowledge our sponsors for tonight's event.
Hello, everyone. So on behalf of our team here at U.T.O.P.I.A Seattle, we want to thank all of you for tuning in to our first virtual film screening, Paradise Mint, and in Talanoa with the beautiful Cindy of Samoa. Thank you so much, Cindy, for your time tuning in all the way from Samoa on a Friday afternoon. We really appreciate you. We also want to thank all our funders for making this possible. Seattle Foundation, Neighbor to Neighbor, King County, VSHSL, Group Health Foundation, Borealis Philanthropy, Funds for Transgeneration, Social Justice Fund Northwest, Pride Foundation, Third Wave Fund, Can't Give Me Culture, GAPA Foundation or Prism Foundation, Seattle People's Fund. As we all know, so much has changed in a short period of time. The world around us, our neighborhoods, our workplaces, and now we're hosting virtual events. During this unprecedented time, many of our communities are looking for support or resources. And here at U.T.O.P.I.A Seattle, we are adapting our model to continue to provide those resources, provide support and information during this time of crisis. We continue to provide support to you, to all our communities, so you're able to continue to provide those basic needs, offer resources, and any information to people from the Pacific Islander and our LGBTQI community. So if you are queer and trans, gender diverse Pacific Islander, we encourage you to apply for our COVID-19 U.T.O.P.I.A or U.T.O.P.I.A Relief Fund that's posted on our social media. So it'll help you with your financial support for food or gas or utilities. We've also partnered with Ingersoll Gender Center to raise over $11,000 to help support trans and gender diverse community in need of financial assistance during the COVID-19 crisis. There are multiple ways to help our community. Please let us know how we can be able to support you. We want to continue to support our brothers and sisters in a sex economy, which does not stop even in times of crisis, and to access safer sex supplies and financial assistance. We want to continue to provide meals, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, up to 50 individuals every Monday through a partnership with King County and Fair Start. If you want to sign up for this list, please contact us via email at mail@utopiaseattle.org. As a community and organization, we are hopeful that sometime during the coming weeks and months, we want to make sure that our U.T.O.P.I.A and our LGBTQ community are cared for as our communities navigate this crisis. Please continue to follow us on social media for all our upcoming events. Once again, we thank you for your continued support. It means so much to all of us here at U.T.O.P.I.A Seattle. Together, we will get through this. Take care of yourself and each other. Faftai Tafasefua.